welcome to my channel and welcome to the final part of the videos about my colored pencils. I searched through all my shelves and drawers and I collected a lot of other sets which I grabbed during my 5 years of coloring hobby. So maybe let's start from Kohinoor pencils. You know that they are a very good Czech manufacturers of colored pencils, quite famous, and they have a really good quality of their pencils, but maybe not of them are 100% for coloring books. You know that they have two main lines. They have polycolor, which are regular pencils. I don't know for sure if they are oil-based or wax-based. Some people say that it's a mix of oil and wax. Some people say that they are oil-based. But the main thing is that they are really requiring to the paper, demanding to the paper quality. Why I love Kohinoor pencils? Because they have great color values, great color range. Among all the pencils which I own, maybe Kohinoor, they are one of the best. Color palettes, they are quite similar between Polycolor and Mondeluz. Mondeluz are water-soluble, they are quite similar between themselves. You have Mondeluz and a tiny brush on the water-soluble pencils, and just Polycolor on regular pencils. You can purchase them in sets, and then your pencil, it will be like this one. It's simple. When I just started to color, I purchased 36 or maybe 48, and then I purchased additional colors individually. If you purchase them individually, at least here in Ukraine and in Czech Republic, they are available to purchase individually, then they will have this beautiful golden edge of the pencil. This Polycolor regular pencils, they have slightly smaller golden cap, and you also can purchase them individually. I think that recently they created bigger range of Polycolor. They have sets of 36, 48, 72, and they also have special sets. Here I have a set which my father purchased for me when he visited Prague. So we have a special landscape set. I think that similar sets they also have in Mondeluz water-soluble pencils. So that's Polycolors, that's Mondeluz. When I started to color, when I had only Derwent color softs, I wasn't happy with their green colors. So I went to the art shop. 5 years ago we had a very limited amount of colored pencils, and the only available set was Kohinoor pencils. I knew that they were good because I usually love to use their erasers, their graphite pencils, so I purchased Mondeluz. And when I discovered all those beautiful green colors, I realized that they are really nice pencils. Here what I have from that first set of my Mondeluz pencils, and as I said, some of them later I purchased additionally. But then I discovered that they are very bright, very highly pigmented. They dissolve with water amazingly well. But if you use them as a regular pencil, and I do prefer to use pencils without water mostly, then they can't layer as nice as regular pencils. Sometimes you get some blotches, sometimes you simply can't get a very smooth gradient from light to the mid-tone to the dark color. They are simply not for such purposes, for the complicated layering. So I do love their quality, wood and core. Never had any problems with breaking cores. I absolutely love those colors, but I don't use them very often, mostly because I don't use water-soluble pencils quite often. I love to use them when I need to add color accents on top of the watercolor underpaint when I started to do something with watercolor and I need to increase color accents or to work on the details with Mondeluz. Or sometimes they are good to be used together with other brands. When you feel that your paper is already quite burnished, this very soft and creamy Mondeluz, they still can work as a last layer when you need to slightly change color or to increase shading. And I think that another reason why I don't use them very frequently, and I definitely intend to correct this mistake because they deserve to be used, it's that I don't have a swatch card for them. 5 years ago I swatched them somewhere in tiny somewhere on tiny scratch of paper. Of course I lost it somewhere, and now I know that I need to do a normal huge swatch. Some of the pencils they have names, but mostly they have numbers, so you can identify them. Maybe during the last years they started to do pencils with names, because here some of them they have names. Here we have numbers, but I need color swatch. Without color swatch, when I just have them here, it's not very convenient to use them. And I think that also as soon as it can be possible for me to purchase additional pencil cases, I need a pencil case for my Kohinoor pencils, because when they are standing like this one, again, it's not convenient for me to search through the pencils to select lighter and darker shades. So when you don't have normal swatch and when you don't have normal storage, it also prevents you from using your pencils. At least for me it works. So that was about Mondeluz, which I love, and I need to find a way how to use them more frequently. They have very good range of gray colors, warm gray, cold gray. I think that Kohinoor also produce special sets, gray colors, brown colors. Browns are also very good, red brown, regular brown colors. So really good pencils. Now let's talk about polycolor. Again, colors are good, and again, beautiful blue colors, beautiful brown colors, but for these pencils you definitely have to think about paper. On biggest amount of my coloring books, they don't want to work at all. They feel too hard, too scratchy. You can't color relatively big objects without having visible pencil strokes. They are not as creamy as I prefer to have my pencils. So it's a pity, and for some time I definitely didn't know what to do with these beautiful pencils and how to use them. Apart from this landscape set, I also purchased individually some of the colors which they created for the portraits coloring. Here I have my additional polycolors which I purchased one by one. I absolutely love this light yellow. It's similar to cream or a deco yellow from Prismacolor set, and when you need to create impression of something highlighted by the sunshine, this one is very good. I do love their range of those light colors intended for the fair skin tone. Here you can see they have slightly different hue of pink, peach pink, regular pink, more violet pink. Also these colors. But again, there is a problem with the paper quality. So they seated idle on my shelf without any normal works. But then I accidentally discovered that on this strange paper, which we have in a vintage classic book by Tatiana Bogema, paper which is strange, soft, thin, but it has tooth, and on this paper they started to work relatively well. Another very good usage of these pencils I had on this paper, which is also with nice tooth. Here I used my portrait set on the girls. those pinks, they worked really well. This paper is absolutely perfect for polycolors. This paper totally changed my opinion about these pencils. They can create beautiful light shading on the fair skin. So here I was perfectly happy with them, and I realized that I need to test once more all my coloring books where I have more toothy paper and to use those polycolor pencils. Here I think that good example of these pencils I will try to show you. Sorry guys. Here on this green shading, those green brown polycolors, they worked really well. Also I think that I used Kevin Teo art grayscale book, and their polycolors on the similar paper, they also worked really well. It was surprising for me because I consider this paper is no good for any pencils, and I struggled with many other brands, but this tooth of paper is really good for polycolors. I think that I need to think carefully to select where I can use them, because again, they deserve to be used. Here I have my swatch, at least for the polycolor pencils. For the Mondeluz, I need to redo the whole swatch. Maybe if I do it, then all those pencils, they will appear in my videos more frequently. I definitely can recommend Mondeluz pencils if you love to use watercolor pencils and if you are not ready to spend yet your money on Albrecht Dürer water-soluble pencils or other high-end brands, then Mondeluz with their highly pigmented and beautiful colors, nice softness and very good water solubility. Then I'm sure that you will enjoy them, and they have quite a reasonable price. Okay, now let's move to another strange set which I own, and it's a set of 24 pencils. Let me put aside my Mondeluz and polycolors, and then we will talk about this set. If you color already for several years, maybe you remember the name of Printworks. It was a Swedish publishers who first published books by Emily Lindehall Åberg, Hanna Karlsson and Maria Trolle. Then something happened, probably 2 or 3 years ago. They closed and all the copyrights to the to the paper books they transferred to the current publisher. And this company, it ceased to exist. But 4 years ago they were quite active and they sent me this set of pencils for a test. Here we have pencils, and when I tested them, I liked them. I would say that they behaved more like oil-based pencils. They didn't create a waxy shining on the paper. They blended well, they have good quality of the wood, and pencil range also was good. But at that moment I already had 150 Prismacolor pencils, and I simply can't limit myself to do something with 24 colors if I got used to 150. I simply don't know how to color something when I have such limited colors. I know that I need to put them somewhere closer to me, and when I need to do something like simple backgrounds with blue or this beautiful turquoise or with green colors, I can consider using these pencils for simple background areas or using them together with complicated pencils, but I simply put them on the shelves. They are nice and nothing bad with them apart from the limited set. Of course, it's not very important for you now because they ceased to produce these pencils, they ceased to print books, and they ceased to exist, this company of Printworks. I think that I did just one page when I tested these pencils, and it was this wreath, or maybe another one in Princess Bride, similar composition with flowers. Here you can see what I managed to do with these pencils. Nice colors, nice soft blending. If you know how to use such a smaller sets and to use them instead of the bigger sets, maybe I can use your advice. It's just a problem that when you are used to something really good, sometimes it's complicated to tell yourself why you have to color with such sets, even if the quality is quite nice, decent pencils. Now I have my Black Widow pencils. You can see that I store them in their original boxes. I definitely have a lack of pencil cases. Sometimes, it's not very convenient to store pencil in boxes, but sometimes those boxes, they are so nice that I don't mind to store them individually. I have one set of Scorpio. You know that they have also a spider and something else. Another two sets of 24 colors. I selected this one because, as usual, I love sets where we have interesting purple, blue colors. Sorry, I think that something is missing. I think that I put aside all blue colors because I wanted to try to use them in Kerberazzanes to do water. But I have a swatch. I have a full swatch card, at least for the Black Widows, and here I have this Scorpio set. I selected this one because I loved those purples. I think that I loved this charcoal green, very nice, helpful pencil, and I do love the rest of the colors, the brown bug, those interesting pinks, bloody red, burgundy, nice color range. Well, for me, they feel a little bit too dry on some of the papers where we also have good tools. I enjoy using them. Surprisingly, I also use them on the paper in Tatiana Bagema books, and they also behaved well. So even on thin paper, but with good tools, we can use them. But I had some problems with the quality, at least with the brown bug. It constantly was breaking when I tried to sharpen it, and I think that I had a similar problem with one of the blue colors, which are not here. Well, that's why I decided that I won't be purchasing other two sets. But then they started to create more specific set. When I saw their set of dark tones, of course I realized that I need those pencils. Here I have those pencils, here I have this column where you can see what actually we have in this set. The only pencil which disappointed me a little bit was this gray thorn. Nothing interesting from the cup of the pencil and from the swatch, the advertising. I hoped that it would be closer to this washed purple, so it would be more bluish or more lavender, and it's simple gray, nothing very helpful to do the skin tone. I feel that they are slightly softer comparing to this set Scorpio, at least for me. And now I will try to show you what I did with these pencils. Indeed, I use them when I need to do skin portraits. I use them here for this lady, and maybe somewhere else. Let me check. Besides this skin, I did with polycolor pencils. And this, I think. Here, for this darker skin tone, I also used this set. So they are not bad. And I started to love them even more when I discovered that they are actually very helpful for the animals, for the fur and feathers. I realized that when I use them in Australian animals, on the first layer, when I put basic colors on the fur, here or here, they don't burnish paper, and they allow me to work on top of this first layer with polychromos pencils, for example, and to do more visible shadows, more visible texture of fur, to draw individual strands of hair here. So as a basic layer, they are really good, and I love to combine them with other brown colors, those suede, light mocha, olive gold, leather, olive brown. They are very helpful, not only for portraits, but if you love to color animals, all those different shades of brown, beige and olive colors, you can definitely use them. So this set I consider as a good purchase. And the last set of Black Widows which I own, it's Monarch pencils. I think again that half of the reason why I purchased it was because of the beauty of the box. You know that recently they produced also dragon pencils, but for me in that set they put too much red colors. Red is probably the least frequently used pencils in all my sets, and they are always the longest pencils among all the brands. That's why I decided that for now I won't be purchasing a dragon set. I do love colors here. If you are not familiar with this set, I will show you again the swatch card if I manage to find it. Here, this 4 columns, these pastel colors. Maybe I will put a photo in this video. It will be better to understand real greens, because sometimes my camera it turn greens into something like neon bright. And they are nice. They are different from pastel shades from pastel tint and pastel colors in Arteza. So I am glad that I have them. They also have beautiful those blue-green colors. I do love such shades, very helpful, I love them. And I absolutely love this gray slate. That's what I expected from this gray thorn, and finally I got such a shade here in this Monarch set. Sorry for the quality of the videos, sometimes it's difficult, but as I said, I will put a picture. Here I really appreciate all those light greens. You can use them instead of sap green, pale sage from Prismacolor sets, and shades of milk, light pink also, they are also not bad. I do love this iceberg, very helpful. When I do winter pictures, I use this iceberg, sky and cat's eye quite often. With some of these pencils I again had quality problems, especially with this quite nice, it's oyster, where we have this oyster, here, very pleasant color, similar to the eggshell from Prismacolor set, and again during sharpening it was broken several times. I was careful with handling them, so it's not a problem with something I didn't drop them, it's just a problem with this pencil. I would also say that they put too much gray colors here, nothing interesting about these grays, and I also feel that some of the pencils, both in this set and in Scorpio, some are slightly more dry and some feel more creamy on the paper, so colors are different when you start to use them, at least for me. But I use them and I can show you some of the works which I did with these pencils. Just a moment, guys. Here in this full bloom, I do love to use them. Some of the shades on these outer petals. Here. Then some of the colors on this huge flower. I think that if I would need to use my more precious pencils for such a huge flowers, I wouldn't be very comfortable, but with more budget pencils I feel at ease. And I would say that they are bright and nice, but still some questions regarding quality of the core and regarding some relatively dry pencils I do have. Well, with Monarch pencils I did this. Here I did felt that they are dry, so on the Creative Heaven paper, some of the pencils, I wasn't able to do very smooth gradient without smoothing them with white Prismacolor. And here they behaved better. I really love how I did leaves. Background I made with marker and the rest with pencils. They blend nicely. So Monarch pencils I can recommend. Monarch and skin tones, I'm happy that I have them, and as I said, I just have to think where to use them more frequently. Regarding this set, well, I purchased them. I will use them because they have some nice shades, but I definitely don't plan to extend the line and to purchase Scorpio and maybe Viper. I don't remember what is the third creature that they put on the boxes. So these two are really nice, and this one so, at least for me. I know that there are a lot of people who love them. Maybe they improved their quality now when they started to be more active on the market and they extended their range. But for me, I think that it's enough for now. Well, the next set I found on my shelves, it's the Colleen pencils. My first acquaintance with the Colleen was because of the Peter Hewitt videos. I think that it was the first time when I saw them and I really was interested. It was also at the moment when I didn't have anything apart from Inktense and color softs. And I didn't know where to purchase, I didn't know how to order from Amazon, so I found this set on eBay probably. When they arrived, I tested them. They are double-sided. Here they are well used, or relatively well used, but when I was really happy with their colors and I was surprised how well they blend together, I was totally unhappy with the quality. They broke every couple of minutes. Even now, a lot of them, they are still broken. I didn't sharpen them. Maybe one-sided Colleen pencils have better quality. I hope that they have the same beautiful colors and the same capability to blend together, to layer, but I hope that they don't break as often. It was so frustrating that I stopped to use them. I think that I did several pictures. My first pictures in Kerber Azane's books were made with these pencils. But when you need to sharpen them constantly and when you have such a short pencil at all, half of the pencil, the breakage problem, it's definitely a huge one. So then I finally purchased my Prismacolors. I realized that Colleen blend and layer very close to Prismacolors, but quality was two different things. Many people have problems with Prismas, but I had problems with Colleen. I can recommend those colors, but I don't know. This set had huge problems with broken cores. Next thing, I have those pencils, which I don't think that they are available now. I think that company, maybe it's not active now, maybe they just stopped to do these pencils, maybe they started to do only markers. Maybe I'm mistaken, but when they appeared on the Amazon, I was really interested because they have those thematic sets. So we have set which is more for doing water and landscapes, or the set it's not with it's 24, but it's without regular primary colors, all those black, white, yellow which you usually got, as I have shown in the smaller sets. Here you have much more interesting colors, muted colors, beautiful for shading. So I was really interested in their color palettes. I have one set of regular pencils and I have one set of water-soluble pencils. Now I am glad that I didn't purchase all those available sets. I wanted to, but I decided that first I will try and then I decide. What can I say? They also have quality problems. Here I found my swatches. This one is for regular colors and this one is for water-soluble. Let's talk about water-soluble. Colors are good, and that's probably a set which I use from time to time because I love to use them together with graphitins and together with Inktense. When I need those lighter, more delicate shades of green or blue, I use them with Inktense or with graphitins. They blend really well, so as additional pencils they are good. But some of the pencils, they dissolve with water without visible pencil strokes, like you can see here or here where I applied water. But some of the pencils, this cobalt blue, this midnight blue, some of the brown colors, you apply water and you can still feel those pencil strokes, so you can't dissolve them completely without this border of between dry and dissolved area. Also a lot of similar colors in this brown range. So these pencils I use, this not so much. It's not a bad set. As an additional set I love to use it. Greens are good, those bamboo, very helpful. You can see that it's probably the shortest in my set. I also love this aqua, those cypress and spruce also are quite nice. I simply don't use my pencils with water very frequently, but this set it can be used, and again I will try to use it more often. Well, this one has even bigger problems. I heard some reviews that people had quality problems, that the core wasn't nicely attached to the wood, so it was shaking inside. For now I didn't have such problems, but I didn't use them a lot, so maybe later I also will have similar problems. Here again, some of the pencils they were able to lay nicely, and some of the colors felt much more dry and scratchy. Sometimes you can get nice coverage without white spots and without pencil strokes, and for some of the colors you simply can't do it even with couple of layers. They also are waxy, so maximum amount of layers is probably 2 or 3. And again, a lot of very similar those reddish brown colors and without any real dark brown. Those grays, they all are warm grays. 1, 2, 3, very close for me. At least on the paper you can't see this difference, so they are almost as duplicates. I think that even if I do love all those shades, you know, if you follow my channel, that all those purple, blue and violet lilac colors, they are definitely my favorites. That's why I purchased this set. I managed to do just one page with only these pencils. Maybe I also need to give them a try on the different papers. When I purchased them, I had much smaller amount of books, not as much choice of the paper in the books, so maybe I need to do a more thoroughly testing, and maybe they will have a second life. So the only page where I used them, it was here. I used to gather pencils from Aqua Blend and Color Blend sets without water, obviously. When I finished it, I was happy with the result, but I had to press quite hard to get rid of the pencil strokes, so my hand started to hurt and to be tired much more comparing to when I used my Prismacolors or Polychromos pencils. When you need some more interesting shades, indeed, it's nice to have some sets, but when you know that they are demanding to the paper, demanding to the quality, that they are not very good at blending, then you simply don't use them very frequently, and sometimes you even forget about them. Maybe again I need to test some of my new books where I know that paper is totally different from what I have here, and maybe there I will be using them more often. Next set, which I own almost from the beginning of my coloring hobby, is the set of Marco Renoir water-soluble pencils. You know that Marco is Chinese brand. They have different grades of pencil, starting from Raffine, which are more student or children grade. Then they proclaim that Raffines are more professional line. Recently they started to do other series, and they can be regular and water soluble. When I just started to color, and when I started to realize that what I see on the screen when I watched coloring tutorials, it's not what I got on my paper with my current set of pencils, I started to search which pencils were available in Ukraine at the moment. And one of my friends gave me this set, which is definitely, it was old already at the time. I think that they stopped to produce Raffines in such package already for a long time, so it wasn't in use. My friend didn't need it, and they gave it to me. So first I liked it because it had a relatively nice selection of colors. As all water-soluble pencils, they didn't blend well, but they covered paper nicely. First, I was very encouraged by all those light colors, especially all those light blue and skin tones shades, but then I realized that actually they are not very visible on the paper. I can say that I used it a lot. I mostly used it together with my Inktense pencils, which I already owned, when I need to color something in delicate pastel shades. You know that Inktense, they are very highly pigmented, so blending them with these water-soluble pencils, sometimes it was helpful, but I wasn't impressed both by Raffines and Renoir pencils, and I think that it was the first and last time when I purchased Marco. Maybe now, after many years, they started to do really decent products, but from this moment I realized that Chinese brands, they can be cheap, but you can't expect from them a really professional quality. But as a budget set, well, I was glad that when I got it, but now I don't think that I have touched it for many years. I think that for 3 years. Now when I gathered bigger amount of Mondeluz pencils, which I love much more comparing to this one. Mondeluz you can use both in dry and water soluble way. This one, I wouldn't say that they impressed me when I used them without water. So of course I keep them. Maybe someday I will need something where I can definitely use these water-soluble pencils, especially because some of the blue-green colors and even purple colors, they are not that bad, but definitely this set is sitting idle for now, and I can't say when will be the next time when I use it. Final set in this video will be this huge Mitsubishi Uno set of Japanese pencils. Mitsubishi Uno set of 100 pencils. They have this amazing box. It's huge but interesting, quite unique. They have pencils in their individual slots standing, so quite nice. You can move, you can select pencil you want to. Of course, pencils are numbered and with names, so it looks absolutely beautiful, and it's kind of decoration of my working area. Here I have, maybe let me put this aside because it's interesting, but it's also huge. I will put here my swatches, and this one I will put aside. So they are very nicely done in quality, everything, starting from the look of the pencil, how you feel it in your hand, beautiful letters, names, colors, so everything is really great. Of course, no problems with the breaking core or the wood. Beautiful pencils, so design is really great. Also, palette is really nice. Here I have my favorite colors, purple, blue, gray. They are really very good. I also love this sea crest, which is close to earth green from Polychromos set. Greens are good here, starting with moss green, olive green, those light willow and apple green colors. I absolutely love this mustard, which is closer to green gold from Polychromos set, and I do love those two columns of pencils where we have pink, lilac, lavender colors, fuchsia, mauve, and different shades of violet, blue violet, red violet. So colors are really great, but I still struggle how to work with these pencils. Here they look very highly pigmented, but when I start to work with them on regular paper, like paper in Creative Haven book, for example, I feel difficulty with getting bright pigment on the paper, and again they also feel waxy. I don't know which paper they require to be able to blend smoothly and not to feel waxy already on the second layer. Just a moment, I will try to get a couple of works which I managed to do with those pencils, and I struggled when I did all of them, unfortunately. Here I tried them on a regular Creative Haven paper, and that's where I started to realize that when I color with them and when I try to lay them on the paper to blend them, even my hand started to be tired much more quickly. It even started to hurt. I never had such problems with my hands before, and I did relatively small picture. The next one was on Lejeune Nouveau. So actually they can be used on many types of paper. It's just you immediately start to feel this waxy feeling, and maybe it's my way of coloring when I immediately start to press hard and to lay quite considerable amount of pigment even from the first step. Maybe that's because, but I feel that I can't do smooth gradients without visible pencil strokes. I think that I use them here on the leaves, and even when the color gradients, they are nice between light green, dark green and some addition of orange, and brown colors, I still can see that it's not very smoothly covered. Yes, this paper is relatively smooth, but cheap pencils like Arteza or Subcolors, they behaved better on this paper. So it was my second attempt. I constantly have this feeling that pencils waxy gliding over the surface of the paper. Maybe I need to find the toothiest paper in all my collection and to start using them there. I guess that the last and maybe most successful try was in the Wish You Were Here, a Korean book. I hoped that maybe Japanese pencils could work on Korean paper, but again it felt smooth for these pencils, and many other brands, even like Arteza or Subcolor, they behaved better on this paper. At least for me it was easier. Again, you can see that I wasn't able to get nice smooth gradient here on the sweater. I tried to do gradient from cream via medium green to more bluish green, and it looks scratchy. The same on the chair. You definitely can see those vertical lines when I use this pencil. Here with the pastel colors, again cream and pink, I managed to lay down somehow, but on the blue, if I look closer, I still can see those pencil strokes. With Prismacolors, I am sure that I wouldn't have such a problem. Just imagine with powder blue, you can get gradient from blue to white and without such visible strokes. Well, so those pencils, they are still kind of, I don't know, something like a puzzle for me. I'm still struggling with finding a right kind of paper, because I do love their colors and their outer looks, their design, it's amazing, and I think that for such prices they have to be really magical pencils. It was beautiful gift. When I received it, I was crazy happy, but maybe they are more for the artists who use a really toothy paper, and it's just a problem of paper together with my way of coloring, because I know that I don't like to layer much, a lot of light layers. Honestly, when sometimes I watch videos where people use pencils in a very light way with almost invisible layers and apply tens, hundreds of them, I really admire final look. Final result looks amazing. But when I look at this process, when they use pencil over and over 100 times and to apply layers on the tiny area, I don't know, but my teeth starts to ache. It's not the way of coloring which I enjoy. I can do it, but I am sure that I simply want to enjoy the process, and that's why I color, to enjoy coloring process, not to get the result, but to enjoy process. That's why process of using Mitsubishi Uno for me still is a huge problem, and I can't say that so far I enjoyed them. I definitely think that I need to dedicate some time and to test various papers for them. Now when I looked at all my pencils, I realized that I really stick to some of the sets which are comfortable for me, which I already learned quite well. But from time to time I think that it's quite helpful to use one of the not so frequently used sets and to try use it for fun, or to switch your minds from the same colors you use one again and again for your pictures. So even maybe not for each of my colorings, but I definitely will try to use all those sets which I mentioned in this final part. I will try to use them more frequently, and maybe my opinion could change. Maybe in the end of this year we will return and I will tell you about my future experience with all those sets which now I don't use quite often. They are nice, and when I got all my pencils I was crazy happy. When I get new materials it's always a push of creativity for me, so I love all my sets. It's just some of them simply are more suitable for my way of coloring, and I learn them better. I can imagine in my hand all color combos from many sets, and some other pencils. Maybe they simply deserve to be just put to work more frequently. Anyway, if you have some experience with Mitsubishi Uno, if you use them and if you know what kind of paper and especially what book they can be used into. I think that I also tested them a little bit for Tiny Flower in Klara Markova books which have amazing paper, and there they also felt waxy and not very impressive, so I simply don't know where else to use them. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that you wasn't shocked by amount of sets which I gathered during all those last years, and I always will be happy to hear your opinions which pencils I need to try more. Thank you, and until my next videos.